There we go.
You alright?
How are you?
Good, I'm good.
Are you at the gym? That's what I like to see.
Just in the gym there.
Love it. Hello. How are you?
Hi.
Liam! Hi! How are you? There's a surprise. What's going on? How are you?
Good, just finished training, sparring with the lads, getting ready for Probellum.
Brilliant. Yeah, well, that was one of the reasons why I wanted to get you on, because obviously the news this week that Probellum is back. Big excitement.
Yeah, good. Looking forward to it. Can't wait.
Yeah.
Boring, isn't it? Not an
Yeah,
happening.
like, I mean, I've been doing this, so it's good, you know what I mean? It's kind of one of those things where I've kept busy, but there's also a fear as well, as like, when are you going to get back to work? Do you know what I mean? My job is in live events, so, but look, it is what it is. So have you then been working kind of like behind the scenes on getting, obviously, all the Probellum stuff together? Is that kind of what you were focusing on over this time?
Yeah, we always knew we were going to come back with a big show, so we've just been waiting to find out when we could go ahead with it.
Mm-hmm.
So as soon as we found out we could go ahead with it in August, we just jumped all over it, to be honest.
So in terms of like the clearance, did you have to kind of like, what was the sort of conversation that had to happen in terms of like when you can go back? This will obviously be a closed event, will it?
Yeah,
Or will we have
behind
audience?
closed doors. Just had to clear it with the venue. Once the venue said we could go ahead with it, it's different with the boxing, isn't it? Because there's no like governing bodies
Mm-hmm.
as there is in the boxing. So we just, once we knew the boxing was going ahead in July, then we knew we could go a month later. So we jumped on that.
How does it make you feel knowing that there's no audience there? Is it just kind of one of those things where you have to just get on with it, or how do you feel about it?
Got to get on with it, haven't you? Probably going to be harder for the fighters, isn't it?
Yeah.
But,
well, this is what we're seeing now, is kind of like a lot of the guys, obviously the boxing is probably the biggest example of it, with people like turning down fights, saying, oh, I'll wait until afterwards. And I think a lot of fighters are now realising how much that the input of the crowd gives them a certain degree of energy, do you know what I mean, to help them fight or to help them win. So it's interesting, definitely.
Definitely, yeah.
So let's talk about your own background, because for a lot of people that might be watching, that they might not know who you are, or some people might think you were just a coach or just a promoter.
You said
Obviously.
See you later.
Bye, Liam. See you later. Have a good one.
If he's turning to MMA, he's quit the boxing, he's fighting on
Is that an exclusive, yeah?
Yeah.
But listen, for yourself, like, obviously not just coaching, not just looking after all the things at Probellum. You obviously, your background yourself, you started out in fighting.
Yeah, I had tons of fights. Like, I was fighting, I fought MMA, kickboxing, K1, pro boxing, amateur boxing, unlicensed boxing. All of it, really.
Do you have a favourite?
Yeah, boxing and K1.
Mm.
Boxing is K1, definitely, yeah.
So for you, I mean, I when I knew you were coming on, I was kind of doing a little bit of reading and, like, trying to get as much info on you as possible. And the one thing that struck out is like that, you're so open about talking about, like, obviously all the different disciplines that you fought in, but then also that you kind of, when you were younger, maybe like, street, having an L knock on the street and stuff like that. And it's always a very interesting one where, guys that get into fighting, as in like the discipline or the martial arts side of it, how they kind of have used that to come from maybe a place when they were younger. Would that be the same for yourself? Would you look at kind of martial arts and think that, kind of put you on a right path, shall we say?
Yeah, probably, yeah. I was a little shit, to be honest with you. But I think everyone is, though, aren't they, growing up, probably?
Yeah.
Yeah, but where we're from, everyone's into boxing. Like, everyone, boxing. It's just a fight. Liverpool is a fighting place. Well, everyone's
Definitely.
fighting.
When you started fighting, would it have been more of from a competitive side that you enjoyed it, or did you just actually like the process of fighting? Because I find there's two very different fighters. Some people like getting in there to challenge themselves to get the win, and then there's other guys who just actually love the process of fighting.
Yeah, to be honest, I was playing football as a goalkeeper, and at a high level, and I went to watch an unlicensed fighting show, and someone's opponent never turned up. So I just jumped in on the night and had a fight, and then after that I kind of like fell in love with the whole concept of fighting.
No way. How long ago would that have been?
20 years ago, I think. And
Gas.
then from that, I just started fighting every week. I was just fighting, training, fighting, taking fights, and just carried on with it.
Like it's gas. Obviously, 20 years is a considerable amount of time, but also it's not that long ago. To think that, you know, just being able to jump in for a knock on the day
Yeah.
was it happening, do you know what I mean, to where we are now with obviously all the safety regulations and different stuff that happens within fighting.
Yeah. Just it's come a long way. Like I think
Yeah.
I fought MMA like 17 years ago. I think 18 years ago, when no one really knew what it was, and there was no like, it's just slugfest really. There's no like, I couldn't wrestle or nothing, but it was just.
So in terms of training then, like what was the process in terms of like training for an MMA fight back then? Because we hear loads of stories of guys who had VHS tapes of like, you know, Pride or something, and they were learning off that, or they were learning off different old school martial arts videos and different stuff. How did you get your training in for MMA back then?
I just boxed. I was just always boxing training, you know, boxing and kickboxing, and I just used that.
So no ground? Did you go into fights with no ground game?
Absolutely no ground game whatsoever.
What?
But
So
I was
did you
probably
ever train jiu-jitsu or wrestling?
no.
That's nuts.
Just always striking.
That is
Always.
mental. And
I hated it.
really?
Yeah.
So this brings me back to the age-old arguments in MMA, like what, or between the martial arts systems, like what beats what? Does Muay Thai beat MMA? Does Muay Thai beat Jiu-Jitsu? Does Jiu-Jitsu beat, you know, kickboxing? So for you, would you say that there's a more dominant discipline?
I don't know. I mean, if you get a top striker in with a crap wrestler, who's crap all around, and the top striker wins. But the top wrestlers, they're hard to beat, aren't they?
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
come on. I've got Justin Burlington here. He wants to come on.
Oh, go on. Where is he?
Hi.
Hi, Justin. How are you?
Hi, good.
How are you getting on?
Hi, getting on good. Two hard sessions today.
What's that?
Two hard sessions today.
Come on,
Good
get
stuff.
on.
Are you delighted to be back?
I kind of waited to be back. Like, I was meant to be fighting in May, but they got cancelled obviously because of the virus. So.
Yeah. So what were you doing? Were you just kind of training away yourself while everything was going on, or what was the story?
I just had like a small unit with some mats on, just going about with a couple of rats and stuff like
Yeah.
What's
Wet
up?
pipe.
Get them all in.
There's the boy.
All right, lads.
You want to see where? I'll show you where these are sleeping in a minute outside the gym.
Stop. Are they actually?
They've got their own little camper van.
No way. That's what I like to see. Dedicated.
Horse and cart it is.
Give over. But listen, when you look back at that time, what do you miss most? Because obviously there's a lot of changes, not only in the sport, but I mean in the business of not just MMA, but in all the disciplines across the board. What do you miss most about that time?
It used to be you're fighting this fella, you'd turn up at a show and you didn't know who that fella was because there was no social media. So you'd be looking, thinking, is it him? Is it him? Is it him? Now, I think too many people are too picky when who they want to fight. They all want the records too much. I think that's
absolutely. How do we kind of escape that? Because it's a kind of it's something that we maybe have seen with the rise of like social media as well. You know what I mean? Where you have like the social media fighter and everyone wants to put out a big game and talk a big talk. So how do we get over that? And as a coach, how do you kind of combat that with your students?
I don't know. I haven't got a clue, but I like to think that my fighters would want to have 50-50 fights, because when you're padding people's careers, if you keep doing it, it's going to get to a stage where they're just going to come down, aren't they? Do you know what I mean? Too many people just want to turn up and fight, no one's going to win. I'm not really into that.
Mm. And in terms of the business side of things, like what was your decision to go into to work? And obviously we have to talk about MTK MMA. That was a massive part of. Well, when did you sign to start working with MTK? Was that 2 years ago?
Yeah, it was 2 years ago. Yeah.
So for you, what was the decision to kind of get more involved in, let's say, the promoting side, in the business side of MMA? Because obviously you have a full schedule of being a coach and, you know, having a family and different things. So what was it for you?
Do you know what? I was asked a few times to do it, and I was seen a bit, mate, and I was like, I'm busy, because obviously I coach pro boxers and I coach K1 lads and coach striking for MMA, and it was just the chance of having a platform to put shows on and work with Colin. Because Colin Ellen's my partner there, so obviously I've knew Colin for 20 odd years myself, and the chance to work with him and put shows on how we want to put shows on, make good fights. Do you know what I mean?
Mm.
Because I was watching loads of shows and I was watching fights and people were just falling over, and it's not fighting.
Well, this is it. And I think, you know, definitely when the announcement came that you were going to be involved with the MMA side of MTK and obviously then with Probellum and stuff, I think it's kind of like a bit of a relief for the general MMA fan and also the fighters, that to have people like you that not only have fought yourselves but have a genuine passion and a genuine interest in seeing the development of the sport, as opposed to where we see quite often where people are put into situations like that for, you know, they just got a job opportunity or there's money on the table or different things. So when people are kind of put in place that come from a genuine background, it's kind of, it's a relief for the sport.
And also, like, I think the hardest thing in the world to make money at is fighting, innit?
Yeah.
So to be able to get some young kids, that's what I want to do with MTK, get some young kids, bring them through, give them guidance, platforms on the show, and try and get them to earn a few quid. That was one
Absolutely.
of the things to do.
And it's been one of the standouts, I think, from the side of MTK boxing, in that, you know, obviously the shows Ulster Hall in Belfast, York Hall over in the UK, is that the platform is there for fighters to be active, which is the main complaint that a lot of fighters have. We can't get fights. This is the only way I can make money. So it's kind of putting a blueprint together to kind of ensure the safety and security of the fighter in terms of their career.
Yeah, definitely, yeah. Definitely.
So in terms of then Probellum, what way will things go? Like, what is the sort of the plan for Probellum? Because obviously we're starting to see now the brand name popping up and obviously the announcement of the show being back. But what is, I suppose, the mission statement? What do you hope to achieve with Probellum?
Putting good shows on, good entertaining shows, good fights. As I say, giving the young ones a chance to fight on a decent stage, good production, and a platform for them to fight on. Entertain as well, you know, good fights.
Absolutely.
That's it, really.
So for any of the fans, when I said you were coming on tonight, like loads of people were messaging saying like great coach. Like I remember when he was fighting, looking forward to seeing the interview and different things like that. And two of the names that kept cropping up with the viewers that were messaging about tuning in tonight was obviously David Price and Darren Till.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
two massively successful fighters in their own right. How did the link up with David Price happen for you?
To be honest, I've padded Pricey for years before he came to the gym. And Darren, I knew Darren since he was a kid, since we were travelling away when he was little. I was fighting, he was fighting. Knew him since he was a proper kid. And I was just padding Pricey, but I was also padding him with fighting myself at the same time. And when I stopped, he came here, and that was it.
Was there, when you decided to retire, what was the main kind of premise for you doing that? Was it just the time was right, or was it time then for you to kind of move on to new areas?
Because I was coaching everyone. I mean, I still spar all the time. I've just finished sparring then. But you can't fight and coach because it's a bit selfish, I think. Everyone else needs your time and you're concentrating on yourself. It's not.
That's a really good point. Do you think that to be a good coach, you have to have had the experience of being in there?
In certain occasions, yeah, definitely. Yeah. Some people probably disagree with me, but you know yourself in the corner when you're coaching someone if you've got to dig deep because you've done it yourself. So I won't ask anyone to do something that I haven't done myself. So, in my opinion, yeah, I'd say so. But
Do
there
you
is
think?
good padmen and coaches and who haven't fought but have trained in the gym as well. You know what I mean?
Do you think then it works the opposite way as well with your fighters, that they kind of have more of a trust in you because they know that you've been in there as well, so you've experienced what they're experiencing?
Yeah, I'd say so. Yeah, especially if you're still getting on the mat with them and sparring with them and showing them yourself that you will you will do that yourself. And as I say, yeah, if you have fought and they knew you was a fighter, then yeah.
And then in terms of Darren Till, like obviously so you've known him since he was a child. At what point did you say to yourself, there's someone who could be world level?
When he broke my nose, probably when he was about 10.
Is that a true story?
True story, yeah.
No, he was
Broke my
only
nose.
10.
He was probably about 12, I think. I was just moving around with him, just playing about with him, and he hit me with a backhand and splattered my nose. So I tried to catch him with a few shots, and he was gone. And I remember thinking, yeah, he's got it, this kid, like.
Brilliant.
Yeah,
But, you know, in terms of like what he has achieved, I mean, like, it's incredible. And in terms of like his character, and, you know, I think he's just been so refreshing for the sport and still is.
yeah. To be honest, though, I don't think he's achieved nowhere near of what he can. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, me personally, I know him and Colin are only scratching the surface with what they can do. He's had his injuries through fights that no one really knows about and things like that. So I reckon he's only scratching the surface of what he can achieve. Got it in him
What
to be a world champion. Like,
What do you think makes him different? And not only Darren, but what in your opinion, what makes the elite level guys different than the guys who just kind of achieve regional or national
mindset.
success? Right.
Mindset. I'd say mindset always.
In terms of
believe it.
if you had to break that down, is it like what you're saying there, the belief that you'll do it, or is it the discipline? Where does the mindset come into it?
I always think as well, you've got to be a bit mad fighting. So
Yes.
he's definitely mad. And his mindset, he has a warrior mentality. If you hit that, and he'll come back harder. Same with any top fighters, you know what I mean? Like Liam Allison, who I'd say, probably got the best mindset I've ever seen in a fighter. So it's all mindset and dedication, obviously, and skill set. And you can have all the skill in the world, and if you're weak-minded, then you're not going nowhere, in my opinion.
Absolutely. Okay, so while we're talking, everyone has an opportunity to send in questions. So I'm just going to have a look and see what everyone wants to ask you.
Yeah.
So Sean Smith has asked, what is the best fight that you've ever been ringside for?
The best fight? Involved in or just watching?
Take your pick.
You know what I'm going to say? The best fight I've ever been ringside for or involved in was a mate of mine who still comes and trains with me now, Rob Lloyd. He fought on the old OMAC years ago against a lad called Aurelius Kerr, who was just from Russia, who was just flattening everyone. And they had an absolute war, like literally a war. And that's the best fight I've ever. And it went on a big, massive show, and I've been all over on, done all kinds of shows. And I think that's the best one I've ever been sat and watched.
Daddy. Okay. Sam Riker has asked, when you look back at your own career, what would you do differently if you had to go back and do it again?
Probably wouldn't have took fights with a day's notice every week. Different disciplines, and like I should have went pro in the boxing well before I did, but I was fighting K1 on MMA, and I used to just fight. I used to just like take fights, and do you want to fight on Saturday? Yeah, didn't know who it was against, and I'd turn up and fight, you know what I mean? Where I probably would have stuck, I don't know. But all these things have helped me with coaching, because I'm like a jack of all trades, master of none, so I know bits of it all.
Let's see. Claire Smith has asked, of British fighters that are active now, who are the ones that we should be watching for?
As in boxing, MMA, or just
Across the board, whoever you think, who are some names that we should be paying attention to?
okay. I'm gonna say some good ones, isn't he?
Yeah. Well,
Boxing,
it's a loaded
boxing.
question. You could be here all day saying.
Yeah, boxing. I've got a kid, James Ennigan. He's a slippery, skilled kid. Ty Stuart Stabler. He's a good kid who comes to our gym and trains. MMA, Justin Burlington, just gone. Top kid, Justin. Dedicated. K1, Jamie Bates. Jamie Bates is going to win the Glory World title. Let me tell you that. And yeah, that's it. Give you the tie K1 and an MMA, didn't I?
Yeah.
Yeah, and boxing.
Unreal. On the term of boxing, Sean O'Leary has asked how. He just said, "Good to see Liam Beefy Smith make an appearance. How did that matchup take place?" So I think he means how did you start working with Liam?
Oh, we all grew up in the same area.
That's mad.
They come in here all the time. My man, his brother, him and Callum have been coming in. Yeah, we all grew up. Me, him, Darren, Liam, Callum, Paul, his brother. They were in this morning. Loads of us grew up in the same road, County Road in Liverpool.
Like, what's in the water in that area?
Yeah, it's a rough area as well, to be fair, but it was we've all knew each other for years.
Brilliant. Love it. Right, let's take one more. Two more. There's two good ones here. Dean Sheridan has asked, I'm 16, starting my journey in MMA, want to be a pro world champion. What advice would you give me?
Find a good gym and a good coach. I think nowadays there's too many people who are coaching and are winging it. That's my opinion. Get a good coach, good experienced coach, and be dedicated to it.
What should people be looking out for? Because it's a question that I actually get sent quite a bit. With people wanting to start training, they're like, "Where should I go? Can you recommend somewhere?" You know, and it's very hard for someone that I think has no experience in the sport whatsoever, and they're just going to a gym. It's hard for them to recognize what makes a good gym or what makes a good coach. What stands out for you?
What makes a good coach, or what makes a good?
Yeah, like how do you recognize as someone new to the sport or someone that's day one in there? Like, what should they be kind of looking out for as a good coach or a good gym?
You need good guidance, and someone who's not going to bullshit you.
Yeah.
Someone who, if they believe in you, they tell you. If they don't believe in you, then they tell you that as well.
Mm-hmm.
You can't be bullshitted in fight. And one thing for sure, you'll get it in it.
Yeah. So then, as a coach, how do you sort of navigate that in terms of like being honest with your guys, telling them the truth, but then also being aware that to be a fighter, there's a certain degree of like an ego that you need to have, and also a little bit of delusion as well to believe that you're going to be the best or that you're not going to be beaten. So what's the fine line as a coach?
First thing I look for is you've got to be brave. You've got to have heart. You've got to learn skills. You can learn all the other stuff. But if you've got nearly said ball there. If you've got no sorry. If you've got no heart, then you're wasting your time.
Yeah, that's a good point. Good point. Right, listen, there's a few more questions after popping in, so let's have a little look. There's a good. I will leave it on this, and this is a good two questions, right?
Yeah.
Ben O'Neill has asked, who inspired you when you were growing up? What fighters?
Have you ever seen the film Bloodsport?
Yes.
Do you know what Ray Jackson is?
Yes.
Ray Jackson. I used to watch that film and think I'd love to do that.
No way, really?
I'll go back here because it's dark in there. I'm going to walk to my car then. Yeah, Bloodsport, Ray Jackson.
Brilliant. Right, and then Dewman23 has asked, who in your gym has the best fight knowledge in
Human,
most martial arts in general? He's probably talking about
human
himself,
fucking
is
Craig. Him himself. Him,
it?
yeah, Craig. No
Loaded
doubt. Him.
question.
Yeah, he knew I was going to say him. That's why he's asked.
Well, listen, thank you very much, John. I really appreciate your time.
No problem.
I have to say, I'm really jealous that you're in the gym.
You know what, mate? I've trained all through this. What's it called? What's it being called?
Pandemic?
Pandemic. Yeah. I've myself been in here on my own for 6, 7, 8 weeks.
Yeah, you're so lucky.
Now the fighters are back in, though. It's been better. Getting ready for Probellum.
Yeah, good stuff. Good stuff. So what is the date again for the next Probellum show?
1st of August.
Brilliant. And have you released the venue, or is there any other details?
It's just going to be in Liverpool in the Olympia.
Brilliant.
No crowd, obviously, pay-per-view.
Yeah, great venue as well.
Yeah, but it's going to be a good card as well.
Good
A
stuff.
really good card. Yeah.
Well, looking forward to seeing all the details, and hopefully it won't be too long till crowds are back and we're back to normal. Yeah.
Nice one, mate.
Thanks very much, John. Take it easy.
See you later.
See you soon. Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye.